Hey BKO, a lot has happened since our last video blog. We recently had a class this past Saturday, our first Aquaponics at Home workshop, where we taught the participants everything they need to know about setting up their own system at home. They also, after the class, there was a farm tour of our community project in Las Piñas, the GK Santa Rita village. They were able to see what's going on there. They were able to interact with some of the nanays that are in charge of that farm, and the nanays themselves were telling them how things work around the farm. Besides that, this past month we were featured in PETA Planet, the international travel show, which you can find online. Also a local newspaper in Bacolod, and as well as we were the cover story of Southern Living magazine.
Correct.
So,
what are we gonna do today, Ann?
Today, one of the questions that came up in the class was, so how do we introduce our plants into the system, or do we plant seeds? Do we transplant plants? So we're gonna show you 3 different ways that we do, and they're all completely fine. It's worked really well for us, so let's get to it. Alright guys, so here we are. We're going to teach you how to sprout your own seedlings. So some of the materials you'll need are seedling tray. We're going to be mixing cocoa peat. We have here carbonized rice hull.
Can you show us? Higher?
Sure. Take a handful. Carbonized rice hull. Basically,
okay.
Rice husks that were burned down. So there we go. And lastly, vermicompost.
Vermicompost.
Yeah. So we'll be needing 1 part cocoa peat, 1 part carbonized rice hull, and 1 part vermicompost.
Alright. And what's that beside all the 3? What do you call that?
This seedling tray.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where we're gonna put them all and then plant our seeds. This formulation we learned through one of our farmer mentors at the Cherry, so we know it works. Alright, so what we're gonna do here is gonna mix everything together and then put it in the seedling tray. Since this is in a block form, we're gonna have to hydrate this cocoa peat. So we take some fish water from our system and then just add a little water to it, so it's easy to break down. So
I see. Break that down, Enzo.
We crush this to almost powder-like form, just whatever is similar to the rice hull and the vermicompost.
Awesome.
So yeah,
it's Enzo getting his hands dirty.
A little bit more water.
Look at that.
And the water.
Look at that goodness.
Grab more water.
It's better to grab fish water, right?
Yes, fish water, because it's already high in nutrient. You know, it's better than the regular tap water, that's for sure. But if you don't have an aquaponics system, well then, no problem. Use tap water, or attend our next class, so you'll learn how to make your own aquaponics system and have nutrient-rich water. So, there we go. It's pretty much mixed.
Okay, what do we do now?
So we have our seedling tray here. So we're gonna fill these holes with our seedling mix, or however many holes that this can fill.
So that's about 3 handfuls, and you can already fill 5 holes. So maybe you can do 12. How many holes is that?
This is
20
holes.
20 holes. So about 5 handfuls,
So
maybe.
Yeah.
Of each, no?
Right, but just follow the ratio of 1 part rice hull, 1 part vermicompost, 1 part.
Just keep the ratio.
Yeah, just keep the ratio. You don't even have to be exact. You just mix it together.
So Enzo, what are we gonna plant today?
So here we have okra seeds.
Can you show us what okra seeds look like?
Yeah, let's open this up. And this will go into our system once they've sprouted. So this is what okra seeds look like.
Whoa, wait, it's out of focus. There we go.
Okra seeds.
Wait, give it a zoom, and we're good.
So this method, we found out that it's good for, well, when you're gardening, in aquaponics. It's good for like the bigger plants such as okra, bushy tomato plants.
Right, right.
The other things like pechay and kangkong, you can just throw in the seeds, let it settle on its own, and it'll sprout really easily. Well, these seeds you can also throw into the grow beds. You're more assured of getting every seed to sprout through this method. So we just bury a little hole in each one, not too deep. You want those leaves to be able to sprout up. So let's just do one per hole, and later on just cover it up really nicely.
Awesome.
And
how long will those seeds take to sprout?
They could take anywhere from maybe 4 days to a week. Yeah, takes a bit of patience. So just pack it in lightly and firmly.
Okay.
Alright, so...
Is there anything they should do within the week if it's not sprouting?
Well, just check. It has to be moist all the time. So the other thing that we do is we place this seedling tray into another tray.
Right.
So if you can see the seedling trays, there are holes underneath, right?
Right.
So we fill the tray with fish water again.
More fish water. Can't have too much fish water in
Fish water. Just fill it up just enough.
See that?
So that the water enters the seedling tray.
Right.
And since the vermicompost, the rice hull, and the cocoa peat have wicking properties, this will, from the water from the bottom they'll wick it going up. So the top of these holes should be moist all the time, which makes it easier for the seed to sprout. Okay, so the next method is transplanting from buying your own plants from anywhere, like a garden store, and when they come in pots. So this is a basil plant. Basically, this came in a pot with dirt, so we've removed it from the pot. Just make sure you wash the roots.
Right.
Remove any soil. You don't want to introduce soil into your system. So wash the roots, and again, fish water. If you have fish water, then why use regular water, right?
Right.
So basically, when you have this, you just dig up a hole that's deep enough so that it can anchor itself, as well as where the water will reach the roots, so that it can absorb this water right away and establish itself really quickly. So just deep enough so it can anchor itself and not fall over, and cover it back up.
And after that?
After that, maybe 1 or 2 days, it might show that it's a little wilted because it's adapting to its new environment. But after that, it should be alright, and it'll look like these guys. So
like these guys.
Yeah.
And this is actually a plant that we transplanted.
Right.
Ashitaba.
And the other method that you can do, so let's say if this plant is growing too big, right?
And so what are you doing with those shears?
We're gonna multiply the plants. We're not reducing them. So basically we just cut the stem. You can do this with plants like ashitaba, with basil, tarragon, herbs. This is good for herbs.
Okay. So after you cut it, what do you do?
We just remove the bottom leaves, and then from this straight into the bed. Again, just the same, deep enough so that it doesn't fall over, can anchor itself. And yeah, for a few days it might show that it's wilting, but once it starts to grow roots and start absorbing water, then it'll be fine. Okay, so lastly, this is how we sprout seeds in our DWC systems or raft systems or deep water culture. Here we have a net pod. This is what we fill with vermiculite, and then you just put this through in the raft.
Okay.
So here we have net pods that are filled with vermiculite. And just like the seedling trays, we just make a shallow hole, put the seed in, and then cover it up. And vermiculite is actually, it wicks water as well. So here we have a tray, and just like the seedling tray, we fill it up with fish water. And it's really convenient to have a setup that you're able to move. So a small setup allows that, and it's really easy to scoop up some fish water. We're not going to do it now, but regularly we'd put the fish water in the tray so that maybe about 1/3 of the net pot is covered in water, and the vermiculite will wick that up towards the seed. And since this is nutrient-rich water, it's enough for the seeds to germinate. And once it's sprouted, just insert this into the styrofoam raft, and there you go. Once it has its roots out.
Awesome.
So that's it. That's how we introduce plants into our systems. That's how we sprout our seeds. If you have any questions, comments, you just leave it on YouTube or also like our Facebook page. You could message us there anytime. And watch out for our next episode.